Hello, my name is Mark Willis and I'm the Kansas City Keto Cook. I've been eating keto now since around June of 2020 and it's had a miraculous impact on my health and my activity level. I've just had a great experience with it, so I wanted to share some of the recipes that I've used on my keto journey that have made it a little bit easier. Foods that I like to eat, that are delicious, but also that fit into my keto lifestyle. Foods that are high in fat but low in carbs. And so one of my favorite ones we're going to do tonight, it's a little bit messier, it's a little bit more involved. We're going to fry chicken. Now I love fried chicken. I especially love a fried chicken breast sandwich. It's one of my favorite things. So when we decided to do keto, I wanted to find a way that I could do this. So we modified a recipe that we've used before when we were gluten-free and dairy-free. We modified it to our keto diet so that we could enjoy this meal, and it's a special one. So I wanted to show it here to you tonight. We're going to start off with my chicken breast here. Now I've got a chicken breast. He's probably about a pound, probably about 16 ounces there. So I'm going to cut him in half. We're going to make 2 fried chicken breasts out of him. And we're going to start with the first thing. Now I take a Ziploc bag and I lay it over it because I'm going to pound the meat with this meat cleaver. And I don't want to throw chicken bits everywhere all over my kitchen. So I cover it with this so that it's going to contain the splatter quite a bit. And we're just going to flatten that breast out. All right, you want to get it down to about a ½ inch, a little less, so that it's uniform. You don't have real thick parts and real thin parts. But instead what you end up with is one piece that's all kind of one consistent uniformity there. All right, now we're going to do the other one. And again, you just want to get it down to about a ½ inch, a little less on thickness. The important thing is to have it consistent in your thickness. Alrighty. There we have our second piece. He's all pounded out. Now the next thing you're going to need for this is an egg wash. Now what I do is I take large eggs and I put 5 of them in here. I did 4 breasts altogether that I split in half, so 8. So I put 4 or 5 eggs in here, and then I throw in a couple tablespoons of our mayonnaise that we made in our very first video together. Remember when I made it and I said there's so many different things you can throw this in to add some fat to some of your other meals? Here's a perfect example. I throw a couple tablespoons of mayonnaise into the egg wash, scramble those eggs up, and then I'm dipping my chicken breast down in the egg wash, getting it nice and coated. Okay, so you can see there we're getting it coated with the eggs. I'm going to let that drain off just a little. And you're probably asking yourself, well, Mark, if you're going to have a fried chicken breast, you got to have breading of some kind. And when we're on keto, we have to be eating low carb, so I know it can't be breadcrumbs. It's not. This is an old friend. You can find him at some of the finer gas stations and truck stops across this nation. This is pork rinds. All I do is I take bags of pork rinds, I put them in my blender, and I just crush them up until they're dust. Literally until they are just crumbs. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our chicken breast out of our egg wash, and we are going to completely coat it in those pork rinds. And that is going to be our breading for these chicken breasts. And it is delicious. Brings a nice crunch to it. And you can use this for other things too. I've used this for breaded tenderloins, things that you want to bread. Pork rinds make a wonderful substitute there. So you just take it till you get it nice and breaded. And I'm going to set that aside for a minute so I can finish my last one. And again, we're going to dip it in the egg wash, and that's got good mayonnaise in it. I also throw some salt and pepper in the egg wash. I'm going to throw it in our pork rinds. Get it covered in there. And I'm just making sure that the pork rinds get all over it. Sometimes the chicken will have little crevices or little folds. You want to make sure you get the pork rinds down in there too. All right, let me turn my heat up here. We are going to fry these. I'm using avocado oil. You can use olive oil. You can use the oil that you have. I happen to have avocado oil. It's a nice oil that doesn't bring a lot of its own flavor. So I'm going to fry these in that. And I've already been frying some. I'm going to show you here in a minute. But I've got it on, my stovetop goes up to 10. 10 is super hot. 10 is super boil. 9 is what we would consider high. So I've got my stovetop on 7, which is low-high range. And once I'm sure the oil is nice and hot, I'm just going to lower these in here. And I'm going to set a timer. These are about 1/2 inch thick, so I'm going to give them about 3 minutes per side. Hey Google, set a timer.
3 minutes, and we're starting now.
Excellent. And just like that, they are going to be down for 3 minutes per side. And when they're done, what I'm going to do is grab a cookie sheet, and I use my cookie racks over the cookie sheet so that as I set the tenderloins on here, they can drip down into the pan so that excess grease can get off of them. But as you can see, what we're left with are nice, crunchy, crispy chicken breasts, just ready for dinner tonight. These 3 on top are a different color because my daughter actually prefers these with almond flour. So hers I did the same way, pounded them out, ran them through the egg wash, and then I coated them in almond flour and fried them just the same way. That's why they're a much lighter color up here. These down here are done with the pork rinds. These are, when I was making these, I had little bits of the chicken that would fall off as I was pounding it out. Little pieces I didn't want to waste. So I went ahead and breaded them and made up some chicken nuggets. This is a delicious meal. It's a wonderful treat to have. All kinds of different ways you can eat this. I'm going to take one of these breasts later, and I took one of our keto rolls that we did in one of our very first recipes. I've cut my bun. Now this is a roll I made where I made the same amount of dough, but I only made 6 rolls instead of 12, so I got a much larger roll. This has 4 carbs in it. I'm going to put a little mayonnaise, a little mustard on here, some pickle, and then I'm going to throw one of those breasts on here for my dinner tonight. Another thing you can do, you can just eat the chicken breast like it is. Make one of those aiolis that we made in one of our previous videos, a garlic with the chive aioli or the sriracha garlic aioli, and just eat it plain, dip it in that aioli. It's delicious. These are fantastic. You can make a bunch of these up, throw them in the fridge, take them with you for lunch. They're quick and easy to make once you've got them cooked. And pretty simple, really. We're getting ready to pop up here on these. We're going to flip these over. About 40 more seconds. You know, if you do try this recipe or you try some variation of it, I would love for you to leave me comments down below of what you tried differently, things that you've tried and that have worked. You know, always trying to find new recipes and new ways to make food. So if you have one you could share with us, I'd love to hear it. Hey Google, stop time.
Okay, I canceled it.
We're going to flip these over now. We were almost there on our timer. And we're going to give them about another 2.5 minutes and they should be done. Hey Google, set a timer.
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
You're going to want to experiment on your stovetop to see what time works for you. Typically for these breasts, when you pound them out to about a 1/2 inch thickness, you're going to go anywhere from 2.5 to 3 minutes per side. You don't want to get it too dry. These can still be juicy and flavorful. On most of these, I end up going about 2 minutes and 45 seconds, kind of right there in the middle on both sides. I had one that was a little thicker. I went the full 3 minutes on both sides for it. But I hope you'll give this recipe a try. This is a delicious decadent recipe. This is one of these things you think you can't have when you're on a diet, but this fits right into the keto lifestyle. You've got your protein, you've got your fats. It's delicious. It's something that you want to eat. It checks all the boxes. So give this a try sometime. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. I'll post links there to our keto rolls and also to our aiolis if you want to try those with this recipe as well. Until next time, good eating.